Kevin McCloskey, Billy Woodward with O-Line Sports coming to you, Stable Talk. Week number 5, game number 4. The Stallions do fall to 0-4 on the season. Somewhat lopsided score, 37-7, but the Stallions were in this one for a while with just a few seconds left in the first half. We trailed, Billy, only by 6 points.
13-7.
And an unfortunate touchdown there, and then the third quarter things got out of hand.
Absolutely. Once again, we can say the same thing, and this is some of the stuff that we used to have the advantage of. It was just too many people on the sidelines for Wallace Rose Hill and our young men playing both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually took some notes tonight and just wanted to kind of give a recap of what happened in here. Beginning of the second quarter, first play of the second quarter, I believe Zay Sudlow took a little pitch around the left end, took it into the end zone for only the Stallions' second touchdown of the season, but that knotted the score at 7. All of a sudden, there was a little buzz. The ensuing kickoff, the Stallions kickoff, and one of the more bizarre plays, at least of this young season, we got the ball, but we didn't get the ball. Did you get any explanation for that fumble recovery that wasn't a fumble?
Never did get any information up top.
Yeah, I kind of did, and basically, without putting words in people's mouth, the mistake was made. And so, unfortunately, it didn't go the Stallions' way, but that could have been our ball with the score tied heading into the second quarter. In the first half in its entirety, only 5 total possessions. Run the ball, 3 yards, cloud of dust both ways.
Second half was a killer for the Stallions. Wallace Rose Hill scored on their first 3 possessions, or 3 of the 4 possessions they had, and the Stallions scored on one of their 2 possessions they had in the first half, and then it was all Wallace Rose Hill in the second half. 4 times for us, and we had to punt every time.
Yeah. Now, a key thing that happened was that their starting quarterback, who was actually their second-string quarterback, was injured and left the game. They moved number 7. I forgot the young man's name. They moved Brown. They moved him to Wildcat and basically ran the same play over and over and over again, and we couldn't stop it. Most of the time it was a Wildcat left, occasionally a Wildcat right. Occasionally would hand it off to Corbin. But most of the time it was just Wildcat left, and they just ran the clock and occasionally broke a big play.
I told Melvin, I said at the Wallace Rose Hill Bulldog coaching staff did not come out with anything else out of this ball game tonight. When they're playing a lesser team the rest of the year, they can forget a quarterback and do that Wildcat with Brown and have another one up on the front lines there to make sure that he and Corbin can do whatever they want to do. They don't need a quarterback down with a lesser team the rest of the year.
Yeah. As the third quarter kind of things did get Wallace open a pretty big lead. Temper started to flare, unfortunately. I thought I don't want to criticize people for making bad calls, but the game got out of hand. The game wasn't controlled properly, in my opinions. I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot and ask you to make any comments about that, but I'll go on record.
We made comments up in the booth, and Melvin was saying you need to throw players out on both teams.
Yeah.
You're letting this get way out of hand, and tempers are flaring. And the other thing that got me was it didn't matter if Southwest was trying to move the ball and they got stood up and Bulldogs had stood them up. They didn't blow a whistle, the officials didn't. They let it keep going. And the same thing if Bulldogs had it. So they're kids, and that keeps going on. Sooner or later, the fireworks are going to explode, and it exploded several times in the second half. The officials could have controlled that a little better.
Yeah. Thankfully, by game's end, things did get under control. I actually was a little concerned with the post-game handshake, but everybody by then had regained their composure, and things went well. Now, I want to say one thing about Southwest. Last week we had huge mistakes in the kicking game, the punting game. Tonight, obviously, that was worked on. It was corrected. A perfect job there. One thing I just, in case that some of the players are getting a little dejected, and I hope they can get over that. This was obviously demoralizing. We fought at 0-4. Next week we got North Monroe. We have a real shot to get on a little bit of a roll here. The guys are playing pretty well overall, so I just want them to keep their morale up.
Absolutely. I hope they'll keep their heads up and keep on going, and we'll go on from there. Better things are going to happen down the road. It's just a matter of putting it together. The one thing I did want to comment and give a kudo to the Wallace Rose Hill coaches late in the third quarter and the fourth quarter when Stallions were punting, they didn't have anybody back there. They let it go and roll dead. They didn't try to have a run back there and run it back to any distance on. Class on that part for the Bulldogs tonight and the coaching staff of letting that happen.
Yeah, even their final scores, 4th and 2 deep in their own territory. They went for it, and they broke like an 80-yard run. It's our job to stop them, Can't blame them for that. So we'll wrap things up. One thing I will give a shout-out to our JV Stallions and head coach Zach Garvey, my buddy. They took the 20-14 win on Thursday night over Wallace Rose Hill. So, guys, we got to get through this season, the second half of this season, continue to show improvement, and better days are ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said last Friday night, the sun is going to come up again tomorrow morning, and everything is going to be hunky-dory. You just go out there and start again.
Yep. So congrats to the Bulldogs. Good luck the rest of the way. I hope you get all your injured players back, and we're going to pull up our big boy britches and get back to work against North Lenore next weekend.
That's it.
All right.
Go
Take care.
Stallions.
Good night.